All right, hey Quants, I'm coming at you with another AI benchmark update. Most people have already put out their Opus 5 benchmarks, and I wanted to go ahead and run mine. I did teach my Hermes agent how to run the AI benchmarks, so that's one of the reasons one of the ways I was able to get some of these benchmarks run. I did run some of them locally still, but I created a few variations. I think I I already put out the video for that where I did Terra and Sol and all those. And then I just did Opus. So one thing that I noticed is that some of the newer benchmarks that I have here for Cruiser Reloaded, in particular that one, I was playing some of the new versions and I thought it was quite fun. I ended up playing it a lot longer than I even intended to play it. I was just testing it out and I kept playing it a little bit just because I thought it was so fun. So it's just, I mean, I wasn't spending hours or anything like that, but it was just an interesting, just a fun thing. So anyways, I want to go ahead and keep producing getting some of this content out here even though I'm traveling. I will say that my setup is not the ideal setup right now for recording, so because this first one, the Asteroid Engine, is a native style game, the way that I need to share it is going to look a bit janky here for a second, so I'm just going to jump over and enable that right now, and then you'll kind of see the Inception windows pop up. All right, and it should be good now, and I'm going to go ahead and launch this. And so this one was done. It says default, but I had Opus 5 selected again. I thought I had fixed the bug with that, and so I made another attempt to fix the bug. So even if I'm doing the CLI default, it should pick the specific model that's the default is pointing to. If I ever forget to set that again, we'll see how that works. But again, this benchmark is not something I'm pouring a lot of time into. I'm just using it mostly at this point, just to test the models when they come out and see what kind of fun things can pop out of that. And so let's go ahead and launch this. This is the native game. You can immediately see one of the issues that it ran into. And so one of the immediate issues it ran into was that background image is not sizing to the size of the window. But the shooting is accurate. You hear the sound for the shooting. I'm going to turn up the sound just a little bit. And you hear the sound for the asteroids exploding. And if I let myself get hit by one, I don't know how long it'll take for one to come here and hit me because I just shot the last one that was close. But I'll talk and see if one slams into me. You should hear the sound for that. There's no background music. I think that's the main miss, which I've seen multiple times where the background music is missing from these. It looks like it's just going to keep sending these asteroids around me. And so I'm not going to try and wait for too much longer. It looks like this really slow moving asteroid might come and smack me, but it might just graze me, and then I waited that whole time. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to hit. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop this where it is now. I'm going to stop that one. And then I'm going to run back over here and I'm going to remove the Inception window that you'll see for a second here. All right, so we should be back to just the benchmark view. And so that one was okay. I mean, it did most of the things right. It still missed. It seems like most of the engines are getting that replication correct. And they're just kind of missing the background music. I'm not sure why they keep missing that background music. Maybe I'll dig into the code and see if there's something missing in the old code that I have that's causing it to miss that background music. But one of them did get it, I recall, so it should, it shouldn't have a problem getting all that. The other one would be the Retro Cruiser. I did, let's see, this says folder only. I don't think, let me see if this runs. I don't recall. Was this Opus 5? This was Opus 5. Okay, I didn't think I had ran this one, so but clearly I did. So let's go ahead and open this up in a new tab. This should just be the default window. Where's my sound? I'm gonna turn this down quite a bit. That's kind of interesting. Click or tap to start. So I didn't have that before, so that's a new thing. There was never in the original game. I didn't hear the startup music, so the startup music should start on the splash screen. But I do hear the music playing there. So let's go ahead and pick one of these. and see how it plays. Seems like the loading screen is taking a long time here, so hopefully computer is not going to crash. I wonder if that's an issue with the game or just an issue with the computer here. So let's try it one more time. Tap to start. Doesn't look like that one finished, so I'll try one more time here. Yeah, it is not loading, and so it looks like this one was a fail, and so I didn't check that one before, so not too surprised with that. I don't even know what happened. I'm not going to bother going into it. I'm just going to say, hey, that failed, and so we'll move on to the next one. And so let's take a look at the Cruiser Reloaded. So Cruiser Reloaded, we have, again, this should be an Opus, this is Fable 5. I thought I had an Opus 5 one here. Maybe I re-triggered it. This could have been the fun one. That would be interesting. So I'll probably have to come back and redo a Fable 5 run of this. I don't know why it didn't get picked up. That's quite interesting because I'm pretty sure I was playing it the other day, but this one has Opus 5 Voidbreaker. So we do have the Voidbreaker one. I'm going to play that Fable 5 one anyways. I'll come back and play that. But for right now, let's go ahead and play this Voidbreaker one. So for the Voidbreaker one, this is going to be the Android the kind of Android type style game. So it's got a few pieces here. The keys are not working. Is it supposed to? So you got hover and mouse, but keyboard shortcuts are not working. The arrow keys aren't working to navigate here, so that isn't great. You still have keyboard navigation, it looks like. So if I say H, you can see the hanger. Back is escape. Logbook, and so these are the scores. So you can see I did play this a little bit before. Back again. How to play? Question mark. That didn't work. To make it actual question mark with shift. I was kind of curious about that. So this is just how to play. Back up, and then we have the daily. I thought this was kind of interesting. So it broke it out, gave you a dive and a daily dive. I could not distinguish a difference between the two, and so let's just do a dive for right now. And there was some interesting points that I noticed about this. Let me remember how to shoot. So there is a little music, I believe. Let me turn up the sound and see if I can shoot something. I'm not hearing it. Let me turn it up a little bit more. I thought there was definitely some sound to this. Yeah, so not hearing the sound. I'm not sure what's going on with that because I'm pretty sure there was sound on here before. I wonder if it just didn't load. I might try and reload this game one more time. But one thing that I found interesting is the movement here was pretty good. You get you're getting the forward back movement, up and down. So again, the ship rotates with the mouse, and I think we had this on some of the other ones, and so it's a little bit hard to control. One thing that I thought was kind of interesting, which may be considered more realistic from a space environment, is as you're shooting, it causes you to track backwards. And so that definitely adds like a little challenging element to the game as well. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. And so let's go ahead and see if I could I think it does have the shift thing. Yeah, so if you hit shift, it shoots you forward, and it should shoot you forward. Gotta wait for the void charge to reset. Yeah, so void charge, and so there's a little bar down here where the void charge is resetting, and it's the void charge. I think the way they called it, I wasn't looking at it, but if I remember correctly, you can use that void charge to kind of smash these rocks. So let's see how that works. Oh, I missed that one. So let's see if we're gonna be able to get one here. There's not that many coming in, which could kill some of the fun, but it also might be the case that they have, maybe it wasn't this version of the game that had the ability for the void charges to smash the asteroids, but there was a variation of the game that had this smash ability if you use the shift, which I thought was kind of a fun aspect. So, I'm just going to see if I can die here, and then go back to the title screen. Now I hear some sound, which is interesting. I wonder if I'll hear the sound. I'm going to turn that down so it's not going over me too much. I'm gonna try the, I don't know that it matters, the daily dive or the dive, but let's go ahead and do this. So I hear the music now, so I think there was maybe just a loading issue. I think if I would, yeah, now you can hear the sound of everything exploding. Yeah, and you can hear it when you do the overdrive. So anyways, the sound is there. I think it was, I'm just gonna refresh, and I don't hear any sound. Try it one more time. And go here. I hear the sound now. Yeah, so I think that it was just a loading issue with this. I'm gonna go ahead and close this. I haven't found, the Asteroid games have some very unique elements that I think would be challenging, that just make them very challenging to play, but also for some people like challenge, I think that could be pretty interesting. Going back to the Cruiser Reloaded, I don't know how this came up with Fable 5, because I had the default model set to Opus 5, so I'm going to rerun this again, but since we're here already, and this I think was the one that I ran, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of fun. And I did a Fable 5 run already, and I don't remember the previous Fable 5 run being as good, so I'm kind of suspect that this is actually a Fable 5 run, and because when I was playing, I mentioned in the past video that I had set up some data persistence so I could have Hermes go do some stuff, and then I could bring it back and just test it here, and then that way I could run that stuff when I was offline. And I had to do some renaming. I'm curious if it just renamed the folder here, and so I'll have to do some digging with that. Obviously, I'm not going to do that while I'm on video right now, but let's go ahead and play this one and see if it's the one that I actually remember, or if that was just some other state stuff that got messed up. So, got Cruiser Reloaded here. Yeah, so we have, I thought this was kind of cool. Just a little animation of the character coming in. That was just kind of like a neat kind of 1980s feel to it. You got the hangar here. I can hear the sound already. I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. How to play. Great. That was the thing. So maybe I just was misremembering the. No, it wasn't that one. But maybe it is on here. Scrap, fuel, pause, boost, fire, move. No, it was definitely the one. But Graze is interesting. So skim past rocks and shots for bonus charge. So that wasn't the one I was thinking about. I was going to say, maybe I got the games mixed up, but I don't see that on here. So let's go ahead and get back in records. I did play this one already. So it doesn't have any of the records saved. So that could have been a bug that occurred with the game. And let's go ahead and play this. And so this one, I thought this one was pretty cool. One thing I will say, I'm going to turn the volume down here because I think the volumes on these get pretty loud. One thing that I noticed with this game while I was playing it, even though this game was quite a bit more fun, it didn't have similar to the old game where I said, oh, if you just get the biggest weapon, sit in the middle and shoot, you could go forever. I kind of noticed the same thing with this one, and so I had to be a little bit careful initially of getting things. And so scrap value, secret pods. So that was cool. See that weapon go and seek that one when it's a little bit close to me. Let's get that stuff. So, anyways, but to the point I was trying to make, while I'm also trying to play here, is that it would allow you to play. You probably could just play forever, because once you get the biggest weapon, it's kind of shooting the whole entire screen. And so the power-ups on here, though, just seem so much more fun. And then this game, like I said, this game was pretty fun. I thought it was kind of cool to see all these different things that you could get from the different power-ups and drops. And so overclock cost is 40% less. So I haven't done that yet, right? So and that's another thing. Like if I'm holding shift, you can see how it burns fuel faster, but it also just like it increases your speed of fire and everything. So there's some rate of fire increase, power-ups and stuff like that on here that I was getting last time. And eventually I got the biggest one. I was up at like level 39, or sector 39 or something. So there's a ton of stuff here. And another thing that was cool about this game, I thought, is you see how it has like this little retractor or this pole, so it's like kind of a tractor beam, so when you're close, so there's some power-ups that allow you to pull things a little bit from farther distances away, and so I thought that was kind of cool. Oh, I'm gonna end up dying on this one, and that's okay. But oh, there's a power-up, right? And so rapid fire right here, so let's do that. I'm gonna do the rapid fire, and so now I'm firing, and I'm not even using my the power up for it, or hitting the shift key for it, but eventually here, if I just play a little bit carefully initially, I will get to a point where I can hit all the power ups, and then I can just sit here and fire forever. So I'm gonna play this one just a little bit longer, because I thought it was kind of fun, even though it's like just, you're not really doing anything. It's kind of time suck. Maybe I won't play it for that much longer, but I thought some of these were cool. So scavenger code 50, sir, nano swarm kills restored. Okay, yeah, let's get some more whole power going. So, and what's interesting is the first time I played this game, it's actually a little bit different than what I remember even. So I'm trying to remember. I do remember some of this crashed, and and I think my Hermes agent said it recovered some of the code, and so I wonder if it just made it a little bit different. But it's really not. I mean, you still get a lot of the same elements ultimately, and so yeah. I mean, this game is just kind of fun, and so it's a very old school feel to it. Afterburners cost less, so let's see what we get with the afterburners, because I wasn't running that. So, man, you're firing like crazy, just smashing everything, and things disappear too, so you kind of got to move forward to get things. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty fun game. This one's looking really polished. I wouldn't mind doing a little bit more prompting just to make this one better if I was actually gonna focus on making some games. But like I said, I didn't spend too much time on this one. I mostly just been using this as a benchmark, and that's all I intend to do for now, because I got a lot of other things that I'm working on, but I still find this fun to play. So, and I lost some power there. So what I was hoping to see with one of the power ups is they give you, like, one of the power ups was faster rate of fire, and then you, without even using the shift key, you were just getting, not that honestly it's not shooting that slow anyways, but you were just getting this super speed rate of fire, and so it was like super easy to just kill a whole bunch of stuff if you just kept building that one up, and then eventually you could just collect all the power ups, and then I will say at that point the power ups started to get repetitive, and they really weren't providing any more bonus. So anyways, this game, I will say, of all the games, came out pretty darn good. I'm wondering if the Opus 5 game, and that's the one I played, and then when I redid it, somehow it picked Fable 5 or something, because this isn't exactly the same as the one that I played before. There's something with the states going on between the one that I had Hermes originally built, and then with the state that it's in now. I think I pulled it in locally, and maybe it was broken, and I had my local AI fix it, and maybe that's why we did that. But we'll stop there. I think this game in general is pretty fun, and so that's where the benchmarks are now. That's probably not a fair run. I will say, just as a point of reference, the game that I was playing before, I'm quite sure was Opus 5, and it was equally as good as the one we were just playing there. I didn't really notice any distinguishable differences other than the types of weapons and upgrades that you would get were a little bit different. Everything else seemed pretty much the same. So very good game, in my opinion, for what AI is just putting out. I did notice that a lot of people have been posting on Twitter now about doing like Call of Duty clones and stuff like that. So I think the models are just getting really good at game creation. So even though I did this as a fun exercise, I expect moving forward it's just going to continue to dominate these kind of game aspects, and so they might not be good benchmarks anymore. Maybe eventually I'll pull out I do have some other applications that I built in the past that might be fun just to pull those in and see if I can get those, use those as benchmarks. So that'll be it for today, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace, quants. And peace, quants.